So, as you know, I'm from the Hera Choctaw office, and my motto is, the harder I work, the luckier I get. The harder I work, the luckier I get.
I love it.
I got my license in the fall of 1977 and joined Century 21, and I've been there ever since. I am probably the oldest active, licensed, and producing realtor in the state of Oklahoma.
Wow.
Now you all were thinking that, but it's true.
Really cool.
And that is why Jennifer invited me to talk about some of the successful marketing techniques that we used in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and so many of you weren't even born yet.
Before cell phones.
And then after I accepted her invitation, she thought, oh my gosh, can she remember back that far?
Oh my God.
So here we go. My broker, Mandy Goley, says she never worries about telling me something that needs to be kept confidential because she knows I'm going to forget it right after she tells me. When I began selling real estate, I traveled to the office on a dinosaur named Bingo.
Oh my God. Oh my.
Now this was before the Ice Age, and there were still palm trees waving in the Oklahoma wind. So I would tie Bingo to a palm tree, and I would go into the office, and I would contact my prospects on my shell phone.
Oh my God.
That's true.
Marsha, you lost it.
Oh, Marsha.
Oh.
You're hilarious.
This is probably your listing presentation.
Bingo.
Anyway, back then, in the old days, the #1 marketing tool was newspaper advertising. Now, I know newspapers are something that a lot of people don't even know what they are, but if you think about this, when you write your remarks for your listing, that is a newspaper ad, and it transfers to the internet. So now the internet is your newspaper. As you know, people read the internet, that's where they get all their news. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some of the things that I have used in the past that I have just started bringing back on my listings because they worked in the old days. We got into that market where you didn't have to do anything except put it on the MLS and it sold. And now we're struggling with days on the market, as you all know. So here's some of the things that I used. I brought some things from a listing that I have pending. It's on Stella Road. It's a house, 33 acres, and some outbuildings. So on that property, I had this display. It has handouts in it for the buyer and the realtor to take. So what's here is the MLS printout, and then this particular property had lots and lots and lots of goodies and details. So what I did is a narrative, and I used to do these in the old days. I would do a narrative on any properties that had a lot of information, too much for the multi-list. Back then, your options on the multi-list was about this much information and maybe 5 photos. And then they went to 10 photos and so on. So I did this narrative, which is 2 pages of all the details about the property that the seller told me. I typed it up, I sent it to the sellers, I had them review it, make any corrections, additions, whatever they wanted to do. Then I redid it, sent it to them for the final approval. So now this becomes part of the presentation in the house. It's also added as a supplement. In addition, there's the disclosure. So I'm sure you've shown a house and the buyer asks you a question and you go, well, I wish I had the disclosure. I know you can pull it up on your phone, I can too. But this is just a little tool that I personally like this. I'm still a filed hugger and a paper hugger, so I like having the paper. The other thing that I brought, now if your property doesn't justify a narrative, maybe it just has enough information for the MLS, then this wouldn't work, except you could put the disclosure, the MLS listing, and maybe a copy of the plat showing what the dimensions of the lot are, even a city lot. Buyers still want to know some information about that. An aerial photo is good. Okay, so the first of this year, I sold a property in Choctaw that the listing realtor had put sticky notes all through the house telling the buyer the features in that house. Well, it was very helpful to me and the buyer, but I personally thought it was a little hokey to have sticky notes all through the house. So what I use instead is, if there's something I want them to see, I have this size display. This came from, or not come from, but I'm using this in a listing that I have that has 3 ovens in the kitchen. 2 of the 3 ovens are conventional, and they're not all ovens in the same place. There's an oven and a convection over here. There's an oven and a convection over here. So I've got a notice that says convection oven because the buyer may not see it. Also in that house is several huge walk-in closets, and they have a top rod is where you put your out-of-season clothes. Well, when you walk into a closet, you don't look up. So I have this notice in those closets. The top rack is for out-of-season clothes storage. You can put whatever you want to in there, and you may not even like this idea. I like it, and I use it. I'm starting to use it again.
Yeah.
All right, so here's something that I brought back. This is an information booklet that goes in the house, and I put it next to that handout. This is off of my listing on Stella Road, which is pending. This book was amazing for this buyer. The buyer is a Boeing engineer. As you know, engineers are detailed people. Well, I didn't know who was going to come by the house, but in this book, I have the MLS printout, the property condition disclosure, aerials, legal description, because it's a long legal, surveys, flood zone, DEQ information, well and septic, utility bills, the narrative, when the septic was pumped and the invoice and the date, the roof invoice and details. And if a seller gives you pictures of their house when it snowed and it's summertime, or they give you pictures of your house and the leaves turned and it's summertime, put those pictures in this book. It is a warm and fuzzy for the seller, and it also intrigues the buyer. So there's no limit to what you can put in this book. Now, the selling agents on this property are Charlie Sanford and Debbie Duran. I forgot to tell you. On the front of this book, it has the property address, and it says, do not remove any of these documents. They are all loaded in the MLS supplements. Thank you. And the other hint I will tell you is tape the top of each sleeve. It prevents people from helping themselves and making their life easier.
I love it.
So, at closing, we're going to take out this sheet, and we're going to put in this sheet, compliments of Charlie Sanford and Debbie Duran, Century 21 Judge Fite. This now becomes a closing gift for the buyer. They now have all of this information.
Nice.
Very cool.
Non-techie.
I used a little bit.
And if you just have if you have a property that just has a few things, you can use a small binder. You don't have to have a great big binder like this. Okay, now I'm going to do the marketing tool that I'm really passionate about. But first of all, we're going to do audience participation. Oh my God. This is not going to be hard. Okay, so I want you to each picture yourself as a buyer driving down the road 50 miles an hour, and your kids are in the back seat and they're fighting and they're screaming, and you've got 5 things you've got to get done today, and you're like about to lose your mind, and you pass a real estate sign. I'm a real estate sign.
We're totally calling you for charades.
Yes.
Okay, so that's option 1. You pass a real estate sign. Okay, now option 2 is I am a real estate sign. Option 1, I'm a real estate sign. Option 2, I'm a real estate sign. All right, so I want you to clap for the option that you think grabbed that buyer's attention. Option 1, I'm a real estate sign.
I don't know, that's pretty attention
Option
grabbing.
2. Okay, sign writers are my passion. And does it remind you going to the eye doctor and they go, is 1 better or is 2 better?
Yeah.
Is
Yes.
1 better or is 2 better? Okay, so sign writers are a wonderful communication tool, and I want to show you just some of the ones that I have. I have this huge collection in my garage. Anyway, this is one that I use. I just took this off of my listing on 17th because I leave them on for about not more than 2 weeks. This is great attention getter. It tells the buyers, hey, there's something new down that street. I love this. You can also tell them how many bedrooms and if it has an office or a 4th bedroom. Somebody, when I had this rider out, they messed with it. It's warped, but if you got a buyer that wants to fish and it's got a fishing pond, if you got a property that is zoned. Now, talking about hokey, I go and buy these stick-on numbers in 3-inch and 2-inch size, and I can change this information. I actually changed the zoning on this one. I'll show you another one in a minute. Potential commercial. You can take your acre signs, you can change it from 5 to 10, you can change it to 5.5. I'm not working for Jack Pratt, by the way. Storm shelter.
My personal favorite rider, I'm learning.
Okay, so you can even tell them what school
Oh, wow.
district it is.
Oh, wow.
I deal in a lot of acreages. That is one of my loves. So this one had 18.49 acres, and I used a 3-inch number and the 2-inch number. You can do this yourself. And up close, they look a little bit homemade, but from a distance, the buyer doesn't know. How about a workshop? You think a man would want to know about a workshop
how
this
big
size?
it is. Yeah.
And it needs to be in your remarks. My favorite writer. Okay, the other thing that I do is I put out multiple yard signs on some property. The property, the Peebly property, 33 acres, so I put out a yard sign at the driveway that says, shown by appointment only, and on top of that is 33 acres. A little further down, I put a sign that says 30 by 31 shop. A little further down, because this has a lot of frontage, I put the 33 acres again. I immediately started getting calls off of the 33 acres because you hardly ever see a property with 33 acres. In town, sometimes what I do is I'm gonna put the microphone down. I put a yard sign and then I put another yard sign. This one has a rider with information. This one has a rider with different information. So they're like this on a city lot. I don't do that very often. It has to be a property that I feel it needs it. Okay, so all of these I said are non-techie, so you can do it non-techie. You can take my example of not being a very techie person. All right, so sometimes when I meet with sellers, they ask me, how long have you been in the real estate business?
How old are you? No,
Yeah, they ask me how old I am, but I lie to them.
no, I said to ask them that. Well, how old are you?
Longer than you have been alive.
Exactly.
Okay, so when I meet with sellers and they say to me, well, how long have you been in the real estate business? And I tell them, and they always say the same thing. They say, oh, you must know everything.
Say, yes, I do.
And my answer is, as a realtor, I do not know everything, but as a woman, I do.